We can start now. Hello, Kinga. Hello, Navid. Hello, and everyone from our participant list. Welcome to PublishDrive's December webinar. My name is Abhi, Relationship Manager at PublishDrive, and your host today. Today's session is different. It's a live Q&A session on increasing book sales in 2021 for our PublishDrive customers and their friends or referrals who would like to know more about PublishDrive. The session is designed to help PublishDrive authors and publishers as well. So you can keep those who haven't sent me their questions yet. They can park their questions in the Q&A box, and we'll try to pick up these questions. For now, I have a few questions which I would go ahead and ask Kinga and Navid. Before we proceed, just a little introduction. Joining us today is our growth marketer Navid, who would be taking related questions. Also, we have Kinga, founder of PublishDrive. And before we proceed, my first question is, Kinga, could you give us, share some highlights of the year 2020 at PublishDrive, and how has the journey been in this year?
Sure. Hey everyone, it's good to see you all here. And thanks Abhi and Navid joining this webinar today. It's a really cool, different format that we did before, so I'm really hoping to answer all of your questions. Yeah, 2020 was a very interesting year, as you all know, that it was totally different from many aspects of a third person's life. We all could experience a lot of loss, a lot of different kind of challenges, but also we could see that on a business perspective, different industries were affected by the virus, by the COVID-19. And we can actually say that in the digital publishing industry, 2020 was actually moving things further. So we could see that more publishers wanted to publish digitally, whether it's ebook, print on demand, or audiobook. And also we could see that more readers wanted to read because everyone was staying at home. Everyone was actually looking for at-home entertainment options. And one of them is reading. So if we can say that at least there is one or two positive effects of this whole horrible virus, then that's the one that people read more than before. At least that's what we can see based on the numbers as well. And in general, what we could see that PublishDrive increased 69% of the sales for the publishers and authors in general compared to last year, same period, which is really cool because it means that we could actually deliver more book sales for the authors and publishers to work with. And besides that, we could see that different kind of trends appeared on the market. So for instance, different reader segments appeared. Many of the people who actually were traveling before, they started to stay at home and read more, and those people actually were focusing more on non-fiction type of titles, like self-help or health and fitness, which are one of the best categories when it comes to book sales. And well, we could also see that people not just read print or ebook like written format, but they listen to books as well. So audiobooks is a big trend in 2020, and I believe that will be also continuing in year 2021. So that's something that we can hope for.
Good. Thank you, Kinga. So I would ask again, everyone, those who do not have shared their questions by email, they can park their questions in Q&A box. So I would start with one question which is quite repeated by most of the authors, which says, how can I increase my book sales, or how can I improve my book sales at PublishDrive?
Okay, should I go with that?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yes, there's a lot of ways what you can do when it comes to increasing your book sales. So one of them is obviously to turn on as many channels as possible within PublishDrive, because that way you can actually see all the sales coming through your PublishDrive account. You can see all the analytics, and with our business model, which is a subscription-based business model, we don't take any royalties from you away. So it makes sense to actually switch on all the different channels. So that's number one step. The second step is actually to look at the books and try to understand who is the ideal reader in your case, and how you can actually target them with your cover, with your description, with the blurb itself, because these are the two most important things that readers are looking for. And the third option is also really important, that you can actually understand how your market is working. So whether you have similar books on the market that are that could be your competitors, but also those could be similar books that your target audience is reading. So that's super important that you know those books, because you can target those books in your Amazon advertising campaign, for instance. That's one of the best tools when it comes to book marketing. And the fourth option is definitely that use the different promotion tools that PublishDrive offers to you. Many of them relate to advertising or paid options like Amazon advertising, or the partnership where we have with Written Word Media to offer email newsletter featuring options for millions of readers. But also there are several like free options that you can use that relates to book marketing. One of them is the featuring option. So basically every month we collect the different promotional features and promotional opportunities from stores that they offer for us and through us to all the publishers and authors we are working with. And you can actually submit your title there. It can be related to any kind of campaign. We have like evergreen campaigns that happens all the time, like for free books or new releases. That is always something that the stores are looking for, like Apple or Scribd. But also we have different genre or category specific campaigns as well. Also for the holiday season, we had a lot of different campaigns that were targeting different categories or best-selling titles. So what I would actually suggest for all of you to click on, when you are in the PublishDrive dashboard, click on the promotions tab and look at the featuring option and try to submit your book into the best fitting category you see. Because it works like that, that we have an editorial team who decides which books could be actually forwarded to the stores. And then at the end of the day, the stores will be deciding whether they want to have that book featured in the front page of the store or in an email newsletter. So it depends on which campaign you are looking for. And then what we can see that in 90% of the cases, the books that we forwarded to the stores will be actually featured in those campaigns. So that's a pretty good ratio. So please, if you see any kind of good campaign that is fitting to your book, then submit your title there, and it's super easy. And you can use other tools as well, like sending free review copies to bloggers, journalists, and you can even push out your book to social media channels as well if you want to. So more people can actually see where your book is available. And it's a super easy tool to use within the platform as well. And whenever you want to have a price promotion, a discount basically targeted to the retailer stores, then you can set up a scheduled campaign as well, where we automatically discount your book on a specific stores that you set up. And that's really good if you have a BookBub app, for instance, or any other email newsletter that is going out and you want people to know that your book is out and they can actually buy it because it has a promo.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the response, Kinga. Another question which has been repeated quite a number of times is about Amazon ads. And so users have asked how should they set up the Amazon ads better? What is the strategy which they should use, whether automatic or manual ads? Which ones are better?
Yeah. So first of all, when it comes to Amazon ads, we had different kind of experiments, which Amazon ads are actually performing better, because we had a lot of campaigns already within the platform, so we could actually see which ads are performing better. And what we could see that there were different factors that were actually influencing the results of the campaign. One of them is whether the book had already reviews or not. So that was super important, because that's how actually people are clicking on those books which actually are having reviews already. Then the ones which actually had a more compelling blurb in the very few first sentences, which basically was more eye-catching or more visible for the users. And then the third one, whether you had an author page on Amazon. So that was also a very important step to set it up. And the fourth one was whether the cover was, eye-catching from the results that was actually popping up for a specific keyword. So again, when it comes to book marketing, you should definitely look at the cover and the description, as always, because that's where everything starts. And then when you answering your question about automatic and product targeting, for instance, or sponsored ads and so on, what we could see that automatic is good for starters who actually just want to, spend not too much money, but 10 or 20 or $50 and just experiment with Amazon advertising in general, because it will give you pretty good results in terms of return on investment. However, it is pretty slow. So if you want to scale and you want to actually have more sales, like substantial more sales, then you need to invest more and you need to actually look at other type of advertising options like product targeting, for instance, or keyword targeting. And the product targeting is very interesting because, as I mentioned before, you can actually check which are the similar books within your category that you can target. So basically, your book would appear on the similar books or next to the similar books, and that could actually result in a very good return on investment as well, and also a lot of good sales numbers. It's not that effective as automatic. That's what we could see on our results so far. However, if you want to actually have more sales and you want to earn a living from your books, then it really makes sense to actually have product targeting and even keyword targeting set up.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the answer. So the next question came from Lisa, and she's asking, what is the best way to promote a book which has already been published for a year or for a longer time?
Okay, Navid, feel free to jump in anytime if you want to.
Sure.
So I will just start answering this first. Again, I know that it sounds really simple, but when you want to relaunch a book, because it's basically like that you decide to relaunch the book, you have to feed the algorithm basically of the different stores. So you have to change something in your metadata, in your cover, or in your description, because that would actually show up within the stores that, hey, something has been changed, and there might be actually some new chapters or something different added to the book as well. So that's why it's really important that you change your metadata if possible. What was working for many of the authors previously, that they had a new cover design that was actually more compelling for the target audience. So many of them actually did some questions from their idea readers or beta readers, which cover they would actually appreciate more, which is more compelling for them. And based on that, they actually redesigned the cover. And then after that, you actually can think of what kind of other marketing channels you want to actually use for your book marketing. So when it comes to the relaunch, I would definitely go with getting actually more reviews for your book. So you can actually reach out to reviewers and say, hey, I have a new cover. I actually have XYZ success with my book before. And yeah, I want you to read and give some feedback on my book. Then you can also start adding advertising channels as well. So Amazon advertising is definitely a must. So if you haven't done Amazon advertising before, please do that. If you can actually start experimenting with Facebook advertising, that's also really cool because it can help you to get more brand awareness, but also to collect more leads. You can also offer one chapter from your book to potential readers for free in exchange for an email. So they will actually get some kind of reader magnet, or you can actually get an extra chapter for them, or something free that they can access and something extra that they couldn't access without that kind of campaign. And also have a lunch party. So that's also really cool to actually have some kind of book reading basically online. So everyone is online right now because of the whole COVID-19 situation. So you can actually gather with some readers and you can do some online reading event and the book launch event or relaunch event in that case. But I think 2020 showed us that rebooting or relaunching is definitely something that we need to do after 2020. So it's not just for books, but in every part of our lives, I think.
Yeah, and the one thing that I'd like to add, because there's a question in the question and answer section as well, is about ratings. It's a question I think that's quite common. I mean, something just as simple as even asking your readers to please leave a review. You'd be surprised how many people just leave something simple like that out. Make it almost a no-brainer for them to leave a review. Make it the first thing that they see. So you might have to experiment with the placement. Maybe you right now have it at the bottom, it's too far below. People want to rate it, but they just can't find it, and quickly delete the page. Make it easy. You'd be surprised how many people do something when you ask them. So in terms of rating, that's really important. The second thing that I'd add to Kinga, what Kinga mentioned is, maybe your audience isn't on the social media that you're really spending money and time on promoting. So just if you do some research on where your target audience is, it's not going to be the same for horror. If you're a horror writer, if you're a suspense writer, romance writer, they're going to be different people in different places. So do a little bit of research on that. I mean, simple things like that will do wonders for your campaign. It's not always the most complicated thing that works.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you, Kinga and Navid. And one question which is related to this is, which would be how to get reviews for POD published authors, which is outside your family and friends. How do you get more reviews?
For print on demand?
No, so for any type of books outside of your family and friends.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I just, yeah. So basically, I think the best way is to research for bloggers in your genre or in your category and pitch them. But Navid, I think you have a lot of knowledge in this, how you can get people do something.
Yeah, so I actually the question that I answered before was actually related to that as well.
Answered, but like outside when using the promotion through promotion tab, when you request reviews from your from your readers, or if you know somebody. So is there any strategy which you would utilize to gain more reviews and request more reviews through PublishDrive account?
Yeah, basically research the different journalists and bloggers. So even there are some like websites that basically work like digital PR collections, basically. One of them is Help a Reporter Out. And the abbreviation is HARO. And basically through that, I always can see that people are looking for book authors as well to actually have list of specific genre-related book authors that they can actually showcase to the readers in lifestyle sections or in other different ways. So that's where you can actually pitch to the different bloggers and journalists, or just simply research. Stalk them on LinkedIn or on social media. Try to get their email addresses when you are searching for that. And then if you have an email address, then you are ready to go, and you can actually send them a DRM protected review copy through PublishDrive.
Yeah, and the other thing I would say, adding to that, is get really good at reading other journalists and other authors and influencers' work, because you want people to read your work. So I think the common courtesy would be you don't have to read everything that they write. So just read their latest blog post, find something. I mean, a truly genuine compliment goes a long way. Find something that you really enjoyed about their post, send them an email, say, I really, really like this. I really like your thoughts on this. I agree with this. I disagree with this. By the way, and then there's your pitch. So just experiment with that a little bit. You probably will not get it right the first time, but over time you will have your pitch down, and then you can just send it to a list of people, and that'll be like a machine on its own.
Yeah, and there are some paid services as well that you can actually do, like NetGalley, for instance. So you can pay for a book review through that as well. We actually have a promo, I think, with Books Go Social for NetGalley reviews. So we are happy to send it out to you all. So you can have a special promotion with that, because they are not guaranteeing that you will get a review or a good review, but at least you can actually get some more effort into that as well. So that's also another option. And I think what is super important to mention that relates to what Navid said, that hang out with other authors and try to actually help them as well by leaving reviews for them, and then they might help you out as well to leave a review for your book.
Great. Thank you, Navid. Thank you, Kinga. Moving on to our next question, I would try to pick up another common question which I received, because we are running out of time as well. My next question would be about PublishDrive's Chinese distribution. What sort of partners and how can we advertise and promote books in China?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And when it comes to China, everything is a bit more complicated than you could imagine, because there is basically a censorship in China. So every book that can be actually published in China, they review it, and they might decide that they don't want to publish. We don't know the exact guidelines for that, what they are looking for and what not. We can obviously see that some of the books that were related to some political or religious views that they don't support, that wasn't actually published. But in general, we could see that many of our books were actually published in China on the different stores that we are partnering with. Through CNP IEC, you can get into thousands of digital libraries in China, with JD.com, which is basically one of the biggest player in China. They are basically the Amazon, because in China, Amazon is not the biggest player. So JD.com, we work with them on the ebook and on the print-on-demand side as well. Dangdang, the same. And that's the most important thing when it comes to China, that you understand that the publishing time can be a bit longer than you expect compared to other stores. It can take up to 3 months as well, easily. And when it comes to promotions, we actually have featured promotion opportunities with Chinese partners as well. So look that up on the promotions tab under featuring when we have any kind of opportunity like that. We also send out periodical emails about these. So if you have anything new coming up, then you will get to know about it, because we actually ran some cool advertising campaigns or promotional campaigns with the stores. So basically the PublishDrive authors were featured and PublishDrive books, like 300 or 500 of them. So that was really cool, and it could actually get a really good result. And yes, when it comes to China, they use different kind of social platforms. So when you try to use Facebook ads or other social media platforms, and add some advertising money to that, you will see that other platforms are working there. So many of them are using WeChat, which is basically the WhatsApp Chinese version. So if you want to actually go into China, you can look at WeChat's advertising options. Yeah, I think these are some of the thoughts that I had at the first slide.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so I think we can take one more question, and I would pick one question from the Q&A box by Cecilia. She here asks, what process to follow if a book or order received directly by me as a publisher? I mean, shall I transit the order into PublishDrive on behalf of the customer or on behalf of myself? I think this question is related to print on demand, if publishers are directly receiving orders for print on demand.
Yes, so there is an option to receive print on demand print copies as well. So currently on the UI, you cannot do that, but please feel free to write to the support team to actually manage that for you. And in a few weeks, there will be actually a big release about that. So you can actually request any kind of print copies through the dashboard as well later on.
Great. Yeah, so we still have a couple of minutes, and I would like to pick one more question from the Q&A box. So we have an anonymous attendee who's like, I noticed that we have a large distribution of retailers for ebooks, but not many for paperback. Would you recommend using more than one aggregator for print-on-demand distribution? And if
well, when it comes to print on demand and print in general, obviously Ingram is one of the biggest players. So you will see some news about that as well coming into your inbox very soon. And yeah, it depends on you what you actually are looking for when it comes to your publishing strategy. Whether you want to actually spend a lot of time to analyze data and to collect the money from the different players one by one and spend time with that, or you are looking for a partner who can actually do that for you and have an easier upload process as well, with some extra help when it comes to formatting, or when you have some extra or when you need some extra help in terms of marketing. So I would suggest, if you are looking for a partner who can help you in minimizing your time spent on administrative stuff and maximizing your royalties by having as many promotional options as possible, even for print, then I would actually go with PublishDrive, but obviously I'm biased.
Good. Thank you. Thank you so much for your answers, both Kinga and Navid, and thank you everyone for joining us today. We have reached our time limit, and I would like to thank everyone. And the questions which we didn't answer, we'll try to share the answers by email as soon as possible. So feel free to send us your questions, and we'll try to answer it by Friday, and you will receive an email in your inbox, and the recording of this video would be shared on YouTube.
Cool. And also, if you have any feedback on this new format, we would love to hear your thoughts, and any kind of future webinar options as well. What would you like to get from us? Because we are organizing it for you. So if you have any thoughts or any feedback, that would be highly appreciated.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day ahead.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.